time. It is party time. You know,
Man, it smells like a smokehouse in here.
probably because we just shut off fireworks on the inside of the building. But anyways, it is party time again. You know why? Why is it party time?
The gridiron football is back.
College football is back.
Or you could say either
oh.
one.
Oh, yeah. Well, all football back, but college football is starting when?
This Saturday.
This Saturday with a pretty good marquee matchup. But, man, football, let's take your stupid hats off. But anyways, it is party time, people. Football is back. Football is back. Football is back. So, yay. And we are back ourselves for the latest edition of
Austin Weekend.
Austin Weekend. We are live here from the Autograph Plus store here in Sevierville, Tennessee. So be sure to check us out online too. www.apsevere.com, but we're not advertising for ourselves. We're talking about football. So we are going to do a little preview
for week 1 of the upcoming brand new season.
Week 1. That sounds just wonderful, doesn't it? It will be February again before we have a weekend without football
or a month period
or any kind of football. But we're going to do a little recap of the top 15
plus the Tennessee Volunteers.
Because Tennessee Volunteers are our favorite team. So hey, out there. So let's just start right off the bat. Now we're not going to do them in order, number 1 through number 15. Or do you want to do that?
Do it however you would want.
Well, I'll tell you what, the very first game we have is actually on Saturday. So the very first game of the year is actually a pretty good marquee matchup.
It features
Miami
of Florida
at Florida. Miami of Florida at Florida. So it's actually a close game as far as Miami is unranked and Florida starts out as number 8 in the country.
Number 8 in the country, Florida.
Florida is favored by 7 points. Miami is a little bit of an upheaval, aren't they?
Yeah, they've lost. Well, Mark Richt retired last year.
Yeah. He's got ex-SEC coach disease. They go somewhere else and fail and they retire. Not talking about every Meyer or anything, but but I mean that's probably what would lead me towards Florida.
I think Florida is. If you look at the talent on offense and on defense,
yeah.
Florida is the superior football team.
Yeah, they're definitely the superior football, and I think they've got a little something to try to prove it. Dan Mullen wants to prove something this year that he is a good coach. You know, he wasn't just a fluke at Mississippi State. He's actually a good coach. So I would say that Florida probably pulls that line. They probably beat Miami. They're pretty good.
Yeah, Florida will win that football game, especially if you look at them side to side.
Mm-hmm. Now, if we're staying inside the top 15, then the next game we have is Thursday, August the 29th, which is my birthday, by the way. But we've got Georgia Tech for the first time in the history of the program, Clemson is number 1.
That's the first time during all this?
They have never been preseason ranked number 1 ever in the history of the Clemson program.
Well, they just came off after a slaughter of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So that's well-deserved in my opinion.
That is well-deserved. So that's the first time they are going to destroy Georgia Tech.
There ain't going to be no Yellow Jackets in the area after that game.
No, they're going to take out that nest of jackets pretty easy. I think so. They pour gas down that puppy and boom, and blow that sucker all to pieces. Everybody out there gripping the country, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that one's going to be a pretty good crushing. We've actually got a pretty good slate on August the 29th. Then the next one we got is Texas State. Texas State at
number 12, Texas A&M.
Man, I mean
Texas A&M. Speaking of a team that could potentially be a sleeper.
Mm-hmm. Texas A&M, I think, they're trying to prove a little something too, and
they've got an experienced coach.
It is second year under that coach.
Under Jimbo Fisher.
They're going to try to prove a little something too, and they will take it. I think they'll take Texas State to the whooping shed, trying to get all that stuff out too. So that was going to be.
Who's the new team of Texas?
It's A&M, I think. Yeah. And then also on Thursday we got Utah Utah is in the top 15. They're starting
Interesting.
out at number 14.
Even though us as a Eastern, we live in the Eastern time zone, so we get the games like at 10 o'clock or like 12 o'clock.
Yeah, we don't get to see a whole lot of Utah, but Utah is starting on the road. It's a little bit of a tough game for them. They're at BYU, and that's almost like a rivalry type game.
Because BYU is located in Utah, especially if you look at that information.
Yeah, this one's going to be a little bit of a toss-up. It's not till 10:15 at night, but
which is right up the Pac-12 alley.
That's Eastern time, yeah. But Utah is favored by 4.5 only at Utah.
BYU is never a pushover team, especially if you look at them historically.
Yeah.
So Utah will be pushed around by BYU, but I think Utah will win it in the end.
Do you think Utah will pull the 4.5 points? Do you think they'll win by 5 or more, or do you think it'll be closer?
I think around that 5 range should
Probably
be
around that 5. Maybe 6 to 7. Utah will probably pull it. And then the next top 15 game is not until Saturday, August the 31st. We got FAU, Florida Atlantic at Ohio State. That'll be a slaughter.
Ohio State, well, they have a coaching overhaul right now. Their offensive coordinator, Ryan Day, took over for Urban Meyer at head coach.
Yeah.
Even though you don't know what Urban Meyer is really going to do after his past events.
I'll pick Ohio State to blow that one out pretty good, though. The next top 15 game we've got is EWU. What was that? Is that Eastern Washington?
Eastern Washington, yeah.
Eastern Washington. You don't get to say that a lot. Eastern Washington is at Washington.
What? Speaking of, Washington has got to replace a ton of players.
Yeah, Washington is starting out ranked at number 13, so.
They've got to replace their starting quarterback. They got to replace their starting running back, wide receiver. 8 of the 11 players on defense that started last year has left. So, got to replace a lot.
Still, though, Eastern Washington University is just not going to have the manpower for
Absolutely.
Washington.
I think Washington still blows the doors off that game.
The first week of the season, you don't have a lot of games that are competitive. They're pretty one-sided for most of them. Like the next one, number 2 Alabama, not number 1, number 2 Alabama.
That's odd. That is really strange.
Yeah, Duke is going to Alabama, so.
Poor Duke.
Poor Duke.
Poor Duke.
Yeah, Alabama always starts off on a strong foot, so, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to put initials there.
Yeah.
They always play those opponents that you think are severely undermatched at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Like Duke, per se.
Yeah,
they're
Alabama,
a good football. They're a solid football team.
They're a solid football team, very well coached. Cutcliffe is a masterful coach. He's a masterful quarterbacks coach. He's got probably... a third of the quarterbacks in the NFL or went through Clemson somewhere. But they're not matched up for Alabama. So.
Alabama may, after the first or second quarter, people may be leaving the stadium.
And then after that, we got another little, this is at 3:30, we got another little bit of a surprise in the top 15. We got Penn State.
Penn State.
Penn State is ranked at number 15.
I don't know if I could trust Penn State until they do something.
Yeah, but so they are starting out with a team they should win pretty easy, though. They're starting out with Idaho at Penn State.
Idaho. Yeah.
Yeah, so they should take care of that pretty easy.
We know the Smurfs rule Idaho, if you know what I mean.
Yes, they do.
So no challenge there.
No challenge there, no. And then later that evening at 7:30, we got number 3 Georgia. So we got number 2 Alabama, number 3 Georgia, number 8 Florida. So far we got 3 top 10 SEC teams.
LSU's number 7 too. Yeah, SEC worst conference, huh?
SEC and some power. But Georgia's starting out with conference play, which is sort of unusual. Normally you don't start out with conference play on the very first week. But you could almost say it's not conference play because they're going to Vanderbilt. That's not real. Yeah, I know they're in the same conference, but
is it really a contest?
You know what I mean. Georgia's going to blow the doors off of them.
Commodores!
They're going to blow the Commodores off of them. Oh, that's so horrible.
Well, there's going to be some dogs feasting on them Commodores. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Speaking of feasting, we got Georgia Southern at LSU. LSU is actually ranked number 6.
At
So
6? I can't believe I got that wrong.
So
Silly
we got
me.
2 Alabama, 3 Georgia, 6 LSU, and 8 Florida. So 4 of the top 10 are 2 are from the SEC East and 2 are from the SEC West.
Like I said, those Big Ten fans, I tell you what.
I don't know. Yeah.
SEC's the worst conference.
LSU's going to destroy Georgia Southern. Again, some of the top ones, and then another, honestly, surprise top 10 team, Middle Tennessee State, who are scrappy, but they're going to get slaughtered. Is that Michigan? They got Michigan ranked number 7. We thought we had somebody coming in for a second, but they didn't. We got number 7 Michigan.
Intruder alert.
Intruder alert. Intruder alert. We got number 7 Michigan. What do you think about Michigan being ranked number 7?
Well, their defense is usually flattening.
Yeah, their defense is really good. Yeah.
So that's one thing you can count on with Jim Harbaugh is that he's always got a defense.
Yeah.
But their quarterback and their offense is usually a question mark.
Yeah, but that does give the Big Ten 3 top 15 teams with Ohio State, Penn State.
But the SEC still outranks everybody.
They got 4 top 10. They got 3 top 15. Yeah. Speaking of SEC in the top 25, the next game we have a number 16th ranked team in it. The reason we have a number 16th ranked team in it is because number 11 is playing number 16.
The best matchup of the weekend.
Yeah. Oregon at Auburn.
Oregon, I've heard, has a highly talented quarterback this
That
year.
is a juicy. I mean, for week 1, that's a good juicy game.
Will Oregon's offense be able to get past Auburn's dominant defensive line?
Yeah, Auburn's favored by 3. So that's almost, with Auburn being home, that's sort of a pick'em game.
Well, Auburn and Oregon, I think, are playing in a neutral site.
But Auburn's considered the home game, though.
Yes.
The home team.
Because they're clearly closer.
Yeah, so with Auburn being favored 3, I'm probably going to go Auburn.
Even though they're the ultimate mystery box. You just got to pick which Auburn team you see.
The reason I say that is last year they were down a little bit. So this year they're probably going to win the national championship. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get with Auburn. It is like a box of chocolates. You really never know what you're going to get with Auburn when they start out the year.
I have no clue what Auburn's going to do throughout the season. So you'll have to keep me in check.
Yeah. Later on Saturday night at 8 o'clock, we got La Tech at Texas. Another blowout. Texas is sort of up in the air, too. And I don't know what we're going to get with Texas this year.
The Longhorns,
they're ranked number 10 in the country. And I just don't know. It's sort of like Michigan. I just don't know what we're going to get with them.
You just don't know what you're going to get with Texas. I can understand.
After we watch the first game against La Tech, we can make a better
assessment of how Texas, especially going against Oklahoma.
And then we have 2 more top 15 teams that play, but they skip one. We actually have one on Sunday. We have Houston at Oklahoma.
Oh, speaking of Oklahoma, what's with my foreshadowing?
Oklahoma with an Alabama quarterback.
And Houston has the West Virginia's old head coach on the sidelines.
That's just sort of a potluck. Oklahoma will beat Houston.
With Jalen Hurts as quarterback.
That's what I'm talking. He was named the starter. So he will be the starter for that game.
I apologize to any Georgia fans in the audience or the comment section.
Yes, and then last but not least, we have some Monday night football, but it's college. It's not NFL.
College or Monday night college football.
Yeah,
Let's just say that.
We have number 9 Notre Dame. Again, another team. I just don't know what we're going to get out of them.
Yeah, Notre Dame's also one of those mystery box teams.
But Notre Dame is at Louisville, so they're actually starting on the road. But Louisville's in a down. They're in a down swoop right now.
Yeah, Louisville was awful last year, so.
Yeah.
I think Notre Dame should win that game.
I think Notre Dame wins that game. So that's it. That is the top 15. Now, the only thing we have left to talk about is Tennessee.
And the Volunteers, what do they got?
The Volunteers, they play. Who is it? Georgia
State.
Georgia State. And, of course, I think they're favored by 26 or 28. So they're going to beat Georgia State pretty good. And I hear everybody saying, well, Tennessee's got the easiest schedule they've had since 1969.
We've had some of the most difficult schedules.
But think about it. We still play the number 2 team in the country. We still play the number 3 team in the country.
Number 8.
We still play the number 8 team. So the easiest schedule Tennessee's had since 1969, and we still have 3 top 10 teams to play. Don't tell me that Tennessee has a soft schedule. What the crap? I mean, what? Should they have 4 top 10 matchups to actually have a hard schedule this year? That's just crazy.
Man.
But anyways, we do pick Tennessee to win, yeah. And I'm honestly, I think this is going to be a turnaround year for Tennessee. I think they pull the line. I think they go 28 plus on this team. It may be in the 30s. I may be close to the 30 something that they beat them by.
You can't argue the toughness that Jeremy Pruitt can bring to the team.
No, and yeah, I like.
He's no nonsense. None of that little turnover stuff like the turnover chain that Miami has, or that awful looking turnover backpack that Florida State had last year,
or whatever. What was it? Some kind of bucket that puts Jones in.
The turnover trash can.
Yeah, it went to a trash can. I mean, the one of the offensive linemen I even heard today was saying something about he's sick of losing. He's sick of it. He's just sick. So I really think Tennessee's going to have a turnaround. I don't think they're going to be undefeated or anything.
That's a little far-fetched.
No, but a good 8-4 year this year, I think, would be a good step us on after a 5-7 last year. So that's it. We are done with college football for week
1 preview.
Week 1 preview. Party time. Football is back, people. Other than that, be sure and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for us, leave a comment for us.
Hit the groovy baby button.
Hit the groovy baby button. Let us know what you think. Other than that, the groovy baby button will be over here somewhere. Other than that, we are out.
My head.
It's on top of his head somewhere.
See ya next week.
See you next week. Football's back.